What up, what up, what up? Big Daddy Peo reporting to duty. My good people of Finland, we have an exceptional honor today to speak to one of the great living photographers of our time. A legendary photographer who shot all the legends of hip-hop's defining years. He worked at Source magazine from 1991 to 1997, shot over 30 legendary magazine covers for Source, iconized people like Tupac Shakur, Biggie Smalls, the Wu-Tang Cats, you name it, the list goes on. He's also shot many legendary album cover sessions with Snoop, Black Moon, Mobb Depp. It's ridiculous. Happy to have you here, Chi.
Great to be back.
All right.
Great to be back.
Now, this is your 5th time in Finland.
Yep. 5th time in the past, 2 years? And I probably should have came twice this year already, so just keep stacking up.
Yeah. You usually, last time you visited was Blockfest last summer?
Last summer I was at Blockfest, and right before that I was at Pori Jazz. So I came Pori Jazz and Blockfest last summer.
Now, can you explain your initial contact with Finland? You did an amazing art exhibition at Pori Art Museum.
In 2014. We did the Chi Modun Uncategorized exhibition at Pori in 2014, and it came after I did Chi Modun Uncategorized billboards in New York. So they caught images or emails about the billboards through a friend of mine, a Finnish friend of mine, who then introduced me to the museum, and then it took off from there. And we did really big exhibition. It was the main show for the summer 2014. It broke the attendance records for the museum for 25 years. So hip-hop was running things.
Word up. Now, can you take us back to late 80s, early 90s in the New York area as the Source magazine was starting off? And how did you end up working as the head of photography for Source? And why did we need a Source magazine to begin with?
Well, think about it. Back then, we had Teen Beat style magazine, but there wasn't really a serious publication for our genre, right? Rolling Stone didn't go anywhere near us. MTV didn't really play our videos. So we needed an outlet. And whenever you have to find your own way, you create your own things. So the Source was like the home for the people that didn't have a home anywhere else. So the timing was perfect. I started doing a little pickup shots there, little freelance work, but then all the artists eventually knew me as the guy. So once I was established as the guy, they'd all see my camera, they'd turn to my camera, because my camera was a camera that showed they arrived. So it was pretty natural and organic how it happened, because we were all coming up at the same time. We were coming up together. So we were all in it together, so it forced us to be teammates. So you'll see one of my pictures with Snoop ironing a shirt, wearing a Mobb Depp t-shirt on his back. Like, that was hip-hop then. It was like one team.
Word up. Now, one of your more iconic shots is the one with Biggie Smallsin and World Trade Center in the back of him, shot on Jersey side. Can you explain about your experiences with Biggie? I hear you used to wake him up in the morning in his bedroom too.
I have. Biggie was one of my guys. So the way New York is, you have Brooklyn, Bronx, all these boroughs, but we're all pretty close in the end. And so Biggie came up through the Source magazine. He was an unsigned hype winner. So my friend Matt Life actually put Biggie in unsigned hype, and then from there, Puffy found out about Biggie, and that's how he got signed. So we knew Biggie before Puffy, because he was one of our dudes. So Biggie and I were always pretty close. I had him in my speed dial. I could call him when I needed to. So when I was doing the World Trade Center shot, we had this concept of showing him as the king of New York, because there really wasn't a current king of New York, and this guy was doing it. So we said, okay, well, what stands for New York? Well, you have the Empire State Building, right, and then you have the Twin Towers. So Twin Towers were like the perfect way to show New York, and the Biggie lyric where he says, blow up like the World Trade, from back in the first explosion at the World Trade Center. So it's kind of a follow-up to that, but who knew 5 years later everything in the picture would be gone. Both Biggie and both towers are gone. So it ended up being a really important picture for historical reasons.
You caught a lot of these guys before they blew up, like you explained, Biggie. Now, another iconic shot in particular I like to discuss is the one with Nas in his bedroom with the Nintendo, the panda bear on top of the cupboard. He's a young cat.
Absolutely. I think at that point, Nas was like 18 or 19, very young, but like a young old soul. And so when you see Nas now, he still looks like a young person, but he's an old soul. So I was the guy that would show up in your hood before anybody else would come. And so there's a certain amount of respect people have for you that you're not from Queensbridge, but you're not afraid to come here. Of course, he meets me at the car because you have to get vetted, right, to come into a neighborhood that's not yours. So he brings me in, and then we're in his home, in the apartment he grew up in his bedroom. Not many people can say they've been in Nas's bedroom before. So he's just sitting on his bed, with all his things, his teddy bears, stuff like that are there. I take pictures of him in his room. And so now, flash forward 25 years later, Nas is a superstar. Those pictures are really, really important because it kind of shows where he came from, including the bullet hole in the wall above his head. I mean, that's a reality in New York,
You just put this book out and did some work in Italy, releasing it in Italy. You're heading out to Barcelona. You've been traveling the world now in the last few years. Now you've discovered that you've been actually influencing a lot of people globally. Myself, my generation of rappers grew up with the Source magazine here on the other side of the globe. How do you feel about that whole thing?
I mean, I'll be real honest with you. It's a little bit weird, because you're an artist. We work in a bubble. You know you have fans, but you don't know to what level until you meet them. And then people come almost with tears in their eyes and goosebumps telling you what you meant to them and what you did. And it's touching. But like I always say to you, I took these photographs, but I don't own them. I'm the caretaker. They're really for the people. So what I have to do is just make sure that they're protected, but I have to share them with the people. He's not my Tupac, he's the people's Tupac. Like, these aren't my pictures of Biggie, they're the people's pictures of Biggie. So I obviously have to eat and pay bills through what I do for a living, but I can't defend it. I have to let people access it. And that's been my mission, be it Instagram, all these things I do, is to make sure that people can access their icons. And I know a lot of artists get into this defend mode, and they act as if it's theirs. And I understand where that comes from, but it's not really yours. You were just fortunate to be picked to be the one to record it, and pay it the respect, and pay the fan base the respect to share it with them properly.
Can you explain where the viewers can get this iconic book? How can they connect with Chi Modu work?
Sure. You can, my Instagram, Chi Modu, CHIMODU. In Finland right now, it's at Good Kicks in Helsinki, and Pure Waste will also have some copies, but the website is uncategorized.com. So if you go to uncategorized.com, you can pretty much get anything I'm selling.
All right. Thanks so much. One last thing, this crazy shot in the back of the book. Tell us about this shot, because this is one of the rare shots you managed to capture with Pac.
Yep. Well, when I did this picture, he just had the cross put on his back, the cross tattoo. So he said to me, take it, keep it, don't put it in a magazine. This is for your personal stash. So I didn't run it in 1994. I actually didn't really release this picture till 2000, or right when they were doing his movie. So it took a while before I released it, but that's Tupac. Like he knew. And he knew this was an important photograph. So the reason we put it on the back of the book is it was more, I call this like a mood book. So depending on the mood you're in, you leave that side up. If you're in a happy mood, that. If you're on a whatever to the world mood, you leave this up, right? So it's kind of, and that's why I didn't put, there's no type on the back. It's just the image with the fuck the world. It's like, and the cross. Like a curse and the cross. So it's a funny kind of balance that this dude always had in his life. A believer, but he would bring the heat if he needed to.
Word up. Thanks so much, Chi Modu. Be sure to check out Chi's Instagram and also uncategorized.com. There's a few copies of this book left at Good Kicks, and also you can find it at Pure Waste. Everything else, all things Chi Modu, you can order through the internet.
Yep. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.